all, and this is going to be painful, is ourselves. We've got to look in the mirror and know when we've got ego going on, perfectionism going on, and control issues. And guess what? We all have them. And here's something else we all have. We all have this fear of, hey, what if they figure out I really don't know what I'm doing? Every single human being on earth has that fear. But chances are you do know what you're doing. Just push through it. Surround yourself with people who believe in you. But be willing to look in the mirror and step aside when you need to step aside. Don't be a Steve Jobs and be so prideful and so arrogant that Apple gets sold out from it. You get fired from your own company. Don't do that.
Right.
And so that's a leadership issue. It's a human issue. It's an education issue. And to me also, never stop growing and never stop learning. Read as many books as you can. Hire coaches, especially in areas you're weak in, whether it's leadership or life or accounting. Bring in people to help you with that. Just to keep growing and being the best leader and entrepreneur that you can. And knowing that failing is okay, because guess what? You just get to start over and do it again. So it's kind of cool.
Yep. And you're mentioning, keep learning. That's something that John Maxwell even mentions in a lot of his coaching and training, is that he wants to learn something new every single day. And that has stuck with me, is that as long as I'm learning something, I have something of value to offer. And
always.
And so I want to always keep learning something, because I don't want to be the guy that is no longer relevant. I don't want to be that person, especially as a business leader.
Totally. And for me, if I'm not growing, I'm dying. And so I'm addicted to learning, growth, business books, inspirational book, development books. And I also am a huge fan of reading the biographies of our founders, great entrepreneurs, inspiring people, and knowing that they're human, knowing they had weaknesses, knowing they failed, but also mimicking what they did really, really well. And knowing that, hey, we're all humans. We have struggles in this human existence, and we're all afraid. We're all scared. We all don't think we're good enough, but cut all that noise and continue to invest in yourself. That's a thing that I say over and over again. Mm-hmm. It's remarkable to me. We'll invest in the stock market. We'll invest in companies. We'll invest in people we don't know. But we won't invest in ourselves. We won't grow. We won't invest in our mental state, our emotional state, our spiritual state, our physical state. And how can we be the best leaders, men, women, fathers, husbands, community leaders that we can be when we won't even invest in ourselves? Because you've got to serve and love yourself before you can serve and love others. And so that would be my biggest thing that people don't do, is invest enough time in their growth and in their emotional and mental states. That's the truth.
That's true. That's true. And it's the best investment in the world, because no investment gives you 100% return on investment on everything. Investing in yourself does.
100%. 100%.
There's no stock out there that's going to give you 100% of everything from top to bottom.
That's right. That's right. And how many spins do we get out of around the sun? We just don't truly know. Right. So why not continue growing, take that courage, continue to change, continue to evolve, to be the best person, leader, human, male, female, whatever you want to label yourself that you can be. And my thing, and I'm not kidding about this, James, my thing is I don't want to look back with regrets. Now, you're talking to a human who made a boatload of mistakes in his younger life. But I've forgiven myself, I've asked for forgiveness, and I have moved on. And I just continually to participate in my own rescue, invest in myself, and continue to grow. And for me, it's just about being better than I was yesterday and not dying with regrets. And that's really all it's all about.
Yeah, that's key. That's very key what you pointed out there. And actually, you just answered what my next question of, how did you transition past all of that? And forgiveness is the best answer for that. Is giving yourself permission to forgive yourself is huge, because from that point you're able to step up and you're able to grow and move past it, and you're not living life looking through the rearview mirror all the time.
Yeah, I think forgiveness, that's beautiful said, by the way. I think forgiveness with a combination of gratitude. And when we can get in a space of gratitude for what we do have, and that the fact we have air in our lungs, and that we live in the United States of America, or wherever you live that's safe, assuming you live somewhere that's safe, assuming you don't live in Syria where they're dropping bombs on your head and you're worried about food and your family, that if we can be grateful, and which gratitude also puts us in the present moment. I think you said something powerful there, because not forgiving yourselves or others, if you're not forgiving someone else, you're drinking their poison. You're holding a grudge. You're just drinking your own poison. But forgiving yourself, learning how to love yourself unconditionally, and moving on and taking action, and then switching that to a place of gratitude for what you do have and stop comparing and competing. Those are two. They're also, it's just like going to the gym. You have to work on those every day. But if you can do those, your life will change significantly. It's incredibly powerful.
Absolutely. Because, you're touching on I'm sorry, I just drew a blank on how I was going to put that. Touching on the point of the gratitude, and gratitude is so powerful that it has feelers into so many different parts of your life that it's just like the abundance mindset is. When you have that gratitude, you can't even explain how it seems to perpetuate itself in your life. It just does. And when you're grateful for what you have, then you start becoming more powerful in the giving to other people. And then it again starts to perpetuate itself. And, it's one of those things that, don't even try to explain it, because you'll never get there. Our minds can only comprehend so much. It's just part of the facts of nature that, I have
it's energy, brother. Totally. It's just like gravity. It's a law of nature. It's hard to, we can't see gravity. We can't see electricity, but we know they're there. And so this energy of gratitude, this energy of self-love, this energy of giving and self-belief and forgiveness, these are all what you're calling abundance. And whatever you prescribe to, light attracts light, love attracts love, goodness attracts goodness, and fear attracts fear, pain attracts pain. And so if you look around you and everybody's judgment and scared and angry and criticizing all the time, chances are you are as well. And so it's a choice for you to shift your mindset and do the hard work and take courageous action to fix that. And so you and I are living proof that it's amazing. We're living this stuff, but we work at it, right? It's not just a slight switch. It's hard work. It's just like going to the gym or starting a great company. This stuff of self-love, self-belief, gratitude, forgiveness, being the best human, it's work, and you got to do the work.
That's true. And, you're talking about, the people that have that negativity. Just remember, folks, you are the sum of, the 5 and 6 people you surround yourself with and spend the most time with. So if those people have toxic mentality and you're surrounding yourself with toxic mentality, no matter how hard you fight it, it's going to seep in. And so just remember that, and, create those boundaries around yourself, around your family, around your business, and be very protective of those boundaries, because when you have, those toxic people surrounding those things, you have to keep those walls strong and the gates shut, because it will get in. It's like a cancer. It will eat all of it from the inside. And so just be very careful, who you allow into that space. Another two.
I don't know who coined the term. But they're energy vampires, and they will literally suck you dry, and you can't help but to get on their level. And it's hard sometimes to change your community, to change your friends, but it's so worth it, man, at the end of the day.
Yeah. And sometimes, unfortunately, it can be even your own immediate family. And so, I've had that case, where some people in my immediate family are those type. And so it's just, keep them at arm's length. You can't do away with it altogether, because, it's family, but at the same time, you can limit, your exposure to that.
Doesn't mean you don't love them. I mean, you can tell them you love them. You can tell them you love them over. It's so interesting. I think we all have that in some way. Yeah. I have an immediate family member who on a regular basis criticizes me, criticizes my relationship, criticizes my wife, criticizes my work, calls me a fraud. And she's just in pain. And so in pain attracts pain. And that doesn't mean I don't love her. That doesn't mean I don't want the best for her. But I'm not going to let her anchor me down and trying to put my message out in the world and hope people dig it. I'm not going to let her do that to me. And so I have chosen to limit contact with her. Doesn't mean I don't love her. Period.
So as far as kind of where you've ended up at this point in your career, was that sort of an obvious direction for you in where you were before, or did you sort of stumble upon where you've ended up?
Oh, if you would have asked me 8 years ago, I was a senior partner on the board of directors of one of the largest firms in the Southeast United States. We did public accounting, mergers and acquisitions, and financial consulting and financial audit and tax. And I was a senior partner. I was 39 years old and on the board of directors. I'd made it to the mountaintop. And I just knew, because of all the self-work I had done starting at 36, I went through this major transition at 36. I was that guy. I was the guy that wore all the masks, the tough guy, the cool guy, the important guy, the couldn't ask for help guy. And none of that was Tommy. And it almost cost me my life. And at 36, I made the tough choice to change, right? Mm-hmm. And so what happened is not only to my life at the firm, I went from junior partner to senior partner so the financial, the prestige, the business all came my way, but also my relationship was saved. My friendship started getting better. My network started growing. And it was all because of all these tools and systems I had put in place. But here's how it fell in my lap. I had to set the stage. So all of a sudden, all these business owners, executive, type A personalities, the rooster guys, the alpha males and females,
sure,
they all started reaching out to me behind the scenes saying, hey, man, I want a little bit of that happiness and balance, fulfillment in life. And you've done all this without compromising your ambition or finance. I'm a business guy, man. I dig business. I'm ambitious. I have huge financial goals, but I'm not willing to compromise my family, my values, and my happiness in pursuit of those goals. I think they go hand in hand. So all these humans started reaching out to me and asking for me to be their life and business coach just out of the blue. And so I grew that. And then all of a sudden they're like, you've got a really good story. Because I went from being incarcerated to one of the largest firms in the world in 3 years, which is part of my story. Mm-hmm. Then I redid my life at 36 after a big collapse. That's part of my story. And they're like, you got to go tell that story and give the tools to these people who need help. And so whether it's public speaking, whether it's writing that I do, or the life and business coach, it all fell into my lap because I think this is what I was put on this earth to do. And it was very painful for me to walk away at the top of a game looking at, annuities of high 6 digits, potential 7 digits the rest of my life, by doing something that I wasn't passionate about. And I don't believe that it was my purpose on earth was put here to do that. But I was scared. I didn't want to leave that. It was security. I had the prestige and power.
Sure.
I had the money. But I took courageous action. I did this. And what I thought was a lot of money back then, it's just silly. It's just our mindset and our fear mindset. But I know now that I'm serving a community. I'm helping people live with balance and meaning in their life without compromising ambition. So that's a really long-winded way of saying it fell in my lap, but the road signs were there because I started looking at the road signs. And, the universe, God, whatever it might be, was pointing me in that direction. And people kept coming to me for advice, for tools, for systems. And now, man, when you have that guy who you thought had it all, but he starts rediscovering who he really is. And he starts talking about, man, I'm happier than I've ever been. And you're having your eggs and bacon and you're sipping your coffee and he's like tearing up. And this is a alpha male executive. And he's talking about his happiness and his relationships and how good his business is going. Or all of a sudden a wife comes up to me and just hugs my neck for like a minute and says, I've never been happier in my relationship. Dude, that's what I do it for. 100% of that. There's no $100 million mergers and acquisition deal that I used to do that could ever light me up than having someone saying, you've touched my life and you've changed my life. And thank you for your transparency and putting it out there. That's why I do this, brother. So it fell into my lap, but it took courageous, massive action and a whole lot of support from a cool community.
Yeah, that's a great story that you have there because, that really does show the difference between, success doesn't mean your legacy. Your legacy is the lives that you're changing. It's not all the stuff you did before that. Everything, in your corporate career, that led you up to that point. But, that was so that you would be at the edge of that springboard so that you could jump to the next thing. And so all of those other things had a purpose, yes. But, that purpose was to lead you to where you are now, affecting change in other people's lives. And, that being really, where your legacy comes in. And, that's a beautiful story. I love it.
It means a lot too, man. It really means a lot to me because you said something, but it started with me saving my own life because I just remember that day. I was 36 years. I'm looking out my office window. I've got the title. I've got the fancy suit. I've got the watch. I've got the car. And I couldn't figure out why I was miserable and self-destructing and literally almost lost my life because I was living that Wolf of Wall Street, Mad Men lifestyle. And no matter what money I had or what shiny thing I had, I was just unhappy and unfulfilled until I decided to take massive action and participate on my own rescue and save my own life. I had to make that choice, man.
Right.
And when I made that choice, that's when all of this stuff started falling in my lap. So it was a tough choice,